religious hatred should be condemned in all forms. But, do you believe that the burden of secularism has been placed solely on one religious community? It is frequently observed that some community is free to make blasphemous remarks about various deities in the name of exercising their freedom of speech. For example, on numerous occasions, Pakistan has made blasphemous remarks about Hindu deities and mocked their cultural beliefs. And every year, about 1,000 Christian and Hindu girls are forced to convert to Islam. And recently, the Express Tribune newspaper reported that a Hindu temple in Pakistan's Karachi city had been vandalized. And this is not the first time a Hindu temple has been vandalized. The incident caused panic and fear among the Hindu community. But Pakistan has rejected India's statement regarding the vandalism of a Hindu temple and has attacked the country for the Muslim community's suffering in India. So the question is, why it is so much easier to mock Hindu gods, and why no international organization is holding him accountable. Hindus have historically faced violence for their religious beliefs. After partition, Pakistan repeatedly humiliated Hindu citizens through religious persecution and systematic violence, including forced conversions, documented massacres, temple demolition and desecration, and the destruction of educational institutions. However, no one is questioning them. The controversial statements made by two BJP spokespersons, one of whom has been suspended and another removed, has led Gulf region summoned India's ambassadors to their respective countries to express their displeasure and demanded a public apology from India. There was condemnation from Qatar, Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, Kuwait, and at least 15 nations condemning the same. India, on its part, rejected criticism from Pakistan, Turkey, who are part of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and reminded that these countries are serial violators of minority rights. Now, the question is, since when did Qatar, Kuwait, Turkey become champions of religious freedom and human rights? Kuwait, in April 2021, rejected requests by Hindu and Buddhist communities to cremate bodies of their deceased in the city. Some of the data clearly demonstrate that these countries are not in a position to lecture anyone on religious freedom or human rights. According to the Freedom House 2022 report, 11 out of the 15 nations that have criticized India are not free in terms of political and civil liberties. Saudi Arabia, Libya, Afghanistan, Bahrain, Iran, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Iraq, Turkey, and Jordan are rated not free. Kuwait, Pakistan, Maldives and Indonesia are marked as partly free. In fact, there are numerous reports of grave human rights violations in these countries. According to the US State Department, expatriate workers from Asia and Africa are subjected to forced labor and, in some cases, prostitution in Qatar. Until 2005, children as young as 4 years old were used as jockeys in camel racing in Qatar. Torture, forced disappearances, unfair trials, and extrajudicial punishment have all been reported by Shia citizens in Kuwait. Kuwait, like Qatar, has in the past used children as camel jockeys and treated them as animals. Kuwait has also been named the worst country in the world for human trafficking, with thousands of foreign nationals subjected to physical and sexual abuse, non-payment of wages, poor working conditions, and confinement. The government of United Arab Emirates continued to violate serious human rights, including arbitrary detention, cruel and inhuman treatment of detainees, repression of free expression, and violation of the right to privacy. And the right to health has been partially realized. That UAE has continued to deny stateless people the right to nationality, limiting their access to a variety of services. Turkey also has significant human rights issues, such as reports of arbitrary killings, suspicious deaths of people in custody, forced disappearances, torture, and the arbitrary arrest and continued detention of tens of thousands of people, including opposition politicians and former members of parliament, lawyers, journalists, and others. According to the US State Department, Shia clerics and prayer leaders in Iran oppose Sufism. They have condemned these activities in sermons and public statements. So these countries are in violation of human rights of its citizens, as well as political and civil liberties. The Gulf countries criticize India for derogatory remarks made by certain individuals, and they do not in any manner reflect the views of the government of India. But why are they not concerned about Uyghur Muslims, and why they are not condemning Chinese government, which has committed human rights violations against 1 million Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang? Chinese authorities arbitrarily imprisoned up to 1 million Turkic Muslims in Xinjiang, and without due process, but the Gulf failed to question them.